So guys, the WNBA have been talking about their most viral moments of the years. Obviously, number 5 most viral moment was I don't remember this happening. The number 6 most viral moment was I don't remember. Sorry, Jesus, I don't remember this happening. I actually mean this when I say this. I covered this league for a living. I don't remember this happening. The only viral Kelsey Plum thing was when she too small Angel Reese and the Centel post about
she was practically playing on one leg, barely able to move, and yet what unfolded against Paige Bueckers went far beyond a basketball game. What happened next was nothing short of a ruthless dismantling. Fans are still stunned by the footage the WNBA surprisingly chose to post, despite their usual narrative. This wasn't merely a victory. It was a thunderous declaration of dominance that obliterated every carefully crafted myth surrounding the league's so-called golden child. Long-standing debate over who truly reigns supreme didn't continue. It ended right there on that hardwood. One player seized the moment and rewrote the entire storyline. The performance didn't just impress, it silenced everyone, carving an unmistakable mark into history.
Stud Buds. To be fair, the Stud Buds at All-Star Weekend is absolutely belongs high. But I'm actually shocked that, first of all, this was higher, this was more important, but the WNBA actually posted this. When Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers matched up, this was an absolute... Like, this was a game where if you wanted to argue that Paige Bueckers was better than Caitlin Clark, you just couldn't anymore. This was like Caitlin was on one leg and she was taking the piss. She stole the ball 4 times off Paige. She blocked JJ Quinterly.
Imagine a player clearly limited, yet still ripping the ball away 4 separate times from her direct matchup, the so-called rival phenom. Caitlin Clark wasn't merely competing. She was surgically breaking the game down. Paige Bueckers was repeatedly outplayed, every move anticipated before it even unfolded. This wasn't just about points on the board. It was a clinic in defensive intensity and elite basketball IQ that left analysts in disbelief and opponents completely lost. The footage, unexpectedly put on display, unveils a level of command and strategic dominance rarely seen on this stage. It was an undeniable show of superiority that shattered expectations and sent shockwaves through a fanbase bracing for a far tighter battle.
Just couldn't anymore. This was like Caitlin was on one leg and she was taking the piss. She stole the ball 4 times off Paige. She blocked JJ Quinterly, screamed in her face, grabbed the ball and just looked up and launched a full court pass, inch perfect, to Sophie Cunningham. She, in fairness, Paige Bueckers caught her in the air and she went down, looking like she'd hurt herself on that one. Caitlin, stats wise, she had 13 assists in like 20 something minutes. She played 10 minutes less than Paige, so 13 assists. Paige Bueckers was the absolute, she was, as we...
The highlights tell the whole story. Clark swatted JJ Quinterly's shot, screamed straight in her face with a ferocity rarely witnessed, then instantly secured the ball and fired a flawless full-court pass to Sophie Cunningham. This wasn't just another sequence, it was a declaration, a moment of total authority over the floor. Emotion collided with elite skill and razor-sharp vision in a single, jaw-dropping flash. That sequence captured the essence of the entire game, making one thing undeniable. Even while injured, Clark was operating on a completely different level, leaving fans and analysts alike questioning how such dominance was possible under those circumstances.
Assists in like 20 something minutes. She played 10 minutes less than Paige, so 13 assists. Paige Bueckers was the absolute, she was, as we call her at times last season, she was the garbage time demon. She was the demon of garbage time last year. When it was a blowout, Paige Bueckers started cooking. When it was game over, Paige Bueckers started cooking at the end of that game to get her 20 something points. But it was like by the time Caitlin Clark had checked out of the game, Caitlin Clark had more points. I'm pretty sure it was more points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and less turnovers. Like, it was genuinely crazy. It was crazy.
Despite appearing to injure herself when Paige Bueckers caught her midair, Clark never lost her rhythm. In roughly 20-plus minutes, she handed out 13 assists, logging a full 10 fewer minutes than Paige. This was never an equal opportunity matchup. It was a showcase of pure hyper-efficiency. The stat sheet tells a brutal story, revealing a player who squeezed maximum impact out of every second on the floor, turning each possession into an advantage while her counterpart struggled to keep up. The gap in influence, especially with such limited playing time, is almost impossible to comprehend, a staggering reminder of Clark's rare talent and relentless competitive fire.
Driving WNBA CC versus Caitlin. Caitlin had Paige in hell that game, read her like a book. The real rivalry, Paige greater than Angel, without the weird underlying animosity between players. I'm just putting it out there. I think Paige is more talented than Angel Reese. I think Angel was better. Angel has been better as a WNBA player. I think Angel as a rookie was better than Paige as a rookie. I think Angel literally dragged the Chicago Sky to multiple wins as a rookie. I think the Vegas win, she literally got 2 putbacks to win that game, even though she was terrible up to that point. The New York Liberty win, Angel willed them to the win. There were a couple of games where Angel...
Paige, in glaring contrast, picked up the unfortunate label of garbage time demon last season, a reputation built on heating up only once games were already out of reach or slipping into their final moments. She stacked points when the result was no longer in question. This matchup followed the same script. While Paige eventually totaled 20-plus points, most of that production came after Caitlin Clark had already checked out and the contest was effectively decided. That distinction is crucial. It reveals the real story of the game, who truly dictated the outcome when it actually mattered. The footage leaves little room for debate, clearly exposing the difference in their competitive impact.
Certainly a memorable game. Coming in at number 7, it was a lot higher. To be fair, if it was number 7, show the highlights. Paige is so much better based on what? If you were talking about this game, I just remember like how the game was summarized in one photo. Yeah. How the game summarized in one photo. That was basically it. The rivalry the league wants. They have grown, bless their hearts. Aaliyah Boston, AZ Foot, 4 steals and 13 assists on one leg. Like, she stripped Paige 4 times, and that was the funniest thing. Is everyone's talking about turnovers. I'm like, Paige had more turnovers than Caitlin in that game. Because
the numbers from that legendary showdown paint an even more brutal picture. Clark outperformed Paige Bueckers in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, while still committing fewer turnovers. It was a complete statistical sweep. Total domination across every measurable category on the court. For any analyst or fan still clinging to the idea that Paige was superior to Caitlin, this game erased that argument entirely. The cold, unforgiving data leaves zero space for debate. It was a basketball masterclass that permanently established one player's superiority, rewriting the narrative once and for all.
I don't think Paige Bueckers thinks that. And by the way, one thing I like is that you're starting to see Paige become Paige again, by the way. Like, if you saw this, for lack of a better word, like the swag and freedom that Paige played with in high school, and then that was kind of gone out of her at UConn. And like, I think we're seeing a little bit more Paige. We're seeing a little bit more her being Paige. And if Paige is Paige, and Paige fixes the mentality issues that she's had over the last 2 years, I don't mean these in mentality issues. Mentality issues is in like the mentality of, oh, I'm just going to, I just want to fit in and not.
What makes this footage even more jaw-dropping is the fact that the WNBA itself chose to post it. Given the league's perceived stance toward Caitlin Clark, and its apparent push to position Paige Bueckers as the face of the future, this move was nothing short of stunning. It's almost as if the performance was so overwhelming, so impossible to deny, that it forced their hand. Even though it clashed with the usual narrative, this rare moment of acknowledgement adds a fascinating twist, proving that Clark's dominance was powerful enough to shatter bias and demand recognition, no matter the cost.
So it's going to happen, but I'm still shocked. I'm actually considering what the WNBA have been doing, considering their mentality towards Caitlin Clark as a league, and them really wanting to push Paige Bueckers as the face, even though Paige Bueckers, nobody watches Paige Bueckers play basketball. And that's just the unfortunate thing, is that in fairness to Paige Bueckers is an unbelievable social media following. She actually does. She's an unbelievable social media following. The TikTok people love making their edits of Paige Bueckers because they have these weird parasocial relationships with her and AZ Foot. They're like K-pop stans, but they don't actually watch basketball.
That entire game was ultimately distilled into a single photograph, a frozen moment that perfectly captured Clark's overwhelming control. The image spread everywhere, telling a complete story without a single word, defining the rivalry and unmistakably revealing who owned that day. It instantly became iconic, etched into the memory of anyone who watched the matchup, crystallizing domination in a way language never could. Even now, the power of that lone photo lingers, a constant reminder of the moment one superstar firmly claimed